Hey everyone, I'm Leif Simon. I'm the Offshore Director at Live and Invest Overseas, and I'm here for another episode of Ask Leif Anything with questions from our readers. So today we're going to start with a tax question that gets, there's all tax questions, a little bit complicated. So this gentleman's understanding is that there are a handful of countries that respect the tax-free nature of Roth IRAs, such as France and the Baltic countries. Do you know of any other additional countries that handle Roths this way? And are there any impacts on Roth capital gains and dividend income on mandatory contributions to those countries' Social Security plans? Whew, well, Mike, that's a lot of detail you're looking for. And the truth is, for any tax question, it's going to depend on the country. And in the case of Europe, there's tax treaties to consider. So France has the best tax treaty with the U.S., so that's probably the place for you to pay attention to and look at. But with regard to a Roth IRA, most countries just consider that another pension account, and distributions from that account will be taxed as any other kind of pension payout or distribution. So the one thing that I've been telling a lot of readers recently who are looking to go to Portugal or Spain, for example, so if you've got a Roth IRA, first of all, you need to do some tax planning in advance. You need to talk with a tax advisor in the country you're moving to, and in the country you're coming from. In this case, obviously, it's the U.S., since we're talking about IRAs. But the answer for one country is not going to be the same as the answer for another country. But you have some tax planning possibilities if you have these conversations before you become a tax resident of your new country in Europe. Going back to the Roth IRA and how to manage that, one simple way for managing your Roth IRA and not having it be taxed in another country is, before you're a tax resident of your new country, distribute everything out of your Roth IRA. You have no tax, no short-term tax issues on the U.S. side. Long-term, your growth won't continue to be tax-free, but it'll save you the tax consequence on the European side. If you need to save that tax consequences, as you mentioned, I believe France is really the only country where that has this excellent tax treaty where you can effectively mitigate your taxes on the French side as a retiree. With regard to contributions to Social Security plans, again, country by country, you're going to need to ask those questions, but there shouldn't be any contributions necessarily, again, because the tax treaty is in place. You're not going to participate in their Social Security plans as a retiree. Therefore, you should be exempt from contributions to those plans. All right. Another question about Europe. Hello, I'm 77 in relatively good health. How difficult or not would it be for me to move to Spain to spend the rest of my life there? I've visited the country, love it, have seen quite a few locations, need some guidance. I speak fairly fluent Spanish, and that's from John. And so, I mean, on the surface, John, you didn't say anything in here that seems like it would be a problem for you moving to Spain. You being 77, the one thing that countries, especially European countries, want to see as part of your residency application is that you have health insurance, an international health insurance plan, some health insurance that will cover you, at least initially, when you're applying for your residency. But the good thing about Spain is once you're in Spain, you can buy into their national healthcare system, and it's not terribly expensive. So that will make it easier for you at 77, because getting that upfront health insurance plan to apply for residency is going to be a little bit more complicated because of your age. But we've got a great health insurance expert out of the U.S., Adam Bates. You can reach out to our team or visit our website to find more information about Adam and how he might be able to help you with that initial health insurance plan for getting your residency in Spain. But otherwise, as long as you qualify on the income side, there should be no issues with you getting your residency in Spain at your age. I think that was the main part of your question. Someone else with an age-based question writing in to say, what about financing a new home in Portugal? I'm 78 now, my wife is 77. I know the bank wants to have insurance, and he's referring to the life insurance required by most banks in other countries when you get a mortgage. Will our age and insurance eligibility stop us from getting financing? The short answer is yes, Bill, it will. At 78 and 77, your longest chance of getting a mortgage in Portugal is to age 80, and so you only got a couple of years for the mortgage, and that will make your payments obviously untenable and kind of pointless to do financing and get that local life insurance policy for that mortgage. But you don't need to buy. You can rent. Why not move to Portugal and rent if you don't have the funds to buy the house that you want to live in, or the apartment or whatever accommodation that you're seeking? And so look to doing that, Bill. Renting isn't a problem, and at your age, maybe it'll give you more flexibility and make life a little more less stressful than having to deal with the whole process of buying a property, maintaining the property, and dealing with it for your heirs when you eventually do pass away. All right, I think we have time for one more. Let me take a look here. This person would like to make an investment in a small apartment that would be rented out for 11.5 months a year, and they'd use it for 2 weeks as a base to visit in Europe. They think Spain is the best opportunity now, and they came to our conference, which was actually last week. I wasn't there, so I didn't see this person in person. But their thought is to finance approximately 30% and use the rent to pay the loan. And then when he decides to move overseas, either pay it off or get a larger place and just move into it. Is this the plan? Is this plan the best, or just invest overseas and then buy when time comes and rent a European location once a year? Yeah, again, is my standard answer for an investment question like this is it depends on what fits into your portfolio and how you're structuring your assets. Certainly, it's a great idea to buy a place and let it pay for itself, and you use it for a vacation, free vacation place with some rental income is a fantastic idea. So is the idea of buying a place today and renting it out until you're ready to move in retirement, whether that's 3 years or 5 years or whenever down the road. So because the one benefit you'll get out of doing it that way from a buy today and move into it as a retirement place down the road is you're buying at today's prices, which in theory, will only be higher in the 5 years that I'm talking about here for your retirement plans. You're getting in at a relatively strong dollar versus the euro, although the dollar's weakened a little bit in the last few months. It's still around $1.10 to a euro as we speak, and that's historically a very decent rate. So buy at $1.10 today, and maybe in 5 years that 200,000 euro property might be 220,000 euros, and maybe the euro is at $1.40. You can see how the price jumps up in dollar terms. So you can lock in your retirement home costs by buying today. Whether you should just buy at the time and rent for the 2 weeks that you want to spend in Europe in the meantime, again, really depends on what fits into your portfolio and your plans. But I think the idea of buying a place, renting it most of the year, and visiting it for a couple of weeks for vacation is an excellent starter plan to help you get the feel for buying property overseas, as well as knowing the neighborhood that you're spending time in. And maybe after a few years of 2-week vacations in that neighborhood, you're not that interested in that particular neighborhood for living, but you maintain it as a rental, and as you say, buy a bigger place or a different place in a different area in that same country. All right, I think we'll leave it at that today, and we will be back for another episode of Ask Leaf Anything soon. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel. Please visit us on Facebook and Instagram, and you can sign up for our free e-letters at liveinvestoverseas.com, where we tell you more about all the places for living, retiring, and investing in our various e-letters. All right, see you all soon.